Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Katy Huff with Katy Huff Ministries, and I am so excited that you are here to listen to Setting Yourself Free podcast, where we encourage everyone to be, do, and have all that God had created you to be, and to not settle in anything because His plans are so big. And I am so excited today. I have one of my dear friends, Becky Leathers, out of Ohio, who has come to share what she is setting herself free. But before that, you need to get to know this beautiful lady that I've known for years, and I'm so grateful that she's here with us. So Becky, tell them where you're from and who you are, and we'll go from there. So how are you?
Good. I love spending time with you, and thank you for having me on. I've been enjoying your podcast, and I absolutely love your book. And what a perfect time that came out. I mean, with that was incredible.
That was a God thing.
Yes, I love God's timing, and the timing of my life it's pretty interesting. I love how God created us all different, and I'm the only one of me, so I'm excited to share a little bit about myself. I grew up in Ohio. I do live in St. Louis now, and I have 3 grown children. 2 are married, and the other one will be soon. And I'm divorced. I was married almost 25 years, and it's 10 years ago this month as I've been divorced.
Wow.
So a lot has happened. Yes, a lot of different businesses, different relationships, and I love what I do now, and I love helping people, and I'm excited to share more.
Awesome. Well, the number one question we always ask people in the very beginning is, what are you setting yourself free from?
I thought a lot about this. Is a great question. I mean, for anyone to ask. And that's what I love about you. And I think that's one thing that we don't take time to do is ask ourselves questions.
Right.
And so I found my immediate thought was rejection because of my divorce. It was very surprising, sudden. I didn't want it. I was like, what? I mean, literally just changed my whole being. And that was 10 years ago. So it's taken a long time. And I believe rejection really started when I was 7, when my dad and mom divorced. So as far as just not feeling wanted, not worthy. So
yeah. Wow. Well, when your family example, like with your mom and dad, when they split and you're a little girl, I can see how that would be very difficult, because it's just like, it's so, as the little girl looks at it, it's just like, this is my mom and dad. Why would they ever do that? And then to have to do it yourself with your children. But, unfortunately, the statistics in regards to divorce are pretty significant. It's like the first marriage, and I don't quote me on this, but I think it's like somewhere around like 56-60% of first marriages end up in divorce, and second marriages, it goes into the 80s. And, what I would say is this, is that I know how you feel, because obviously I was married in my 20s, and then I was single for 30 years until I met my husband of today. And I let Jesus pick my husband because my picker was broke, picking the wrong guys for the wrong reasons in the wrong arenas. And so I think, obviously, the chances of marriage surviving, if Jesus isn't in the center, are going to be a lot more difficult. So that's that 3-corded strand that we talk about and read about in the Bible, is that it's you and your spouse and Jesus in the center. Because, there's no perfect marriage, but there is a perfect God that can do a lot of things through people and to keep them together. But we also know that there's some really bad marriages that no one should stay together, because they're just too toxic and could be even life-taking. So not to go down that path, but I hear what you're saying in regards to the rejection that started as a little girl because your dad and mom split, but then the rejection when you had your own divorce. So can you share a sequence of events that you went through that you have been set free from this? Because I look at you, and you've grown, and you've put some of this behind you, obviously. So, and everyone's journey is different, and rejection is one that I don't know of anyone that at any time in their life that they haven't experienced some sort of rejection.
Oh, so true. I think the first thing that happened was my aunt, she's a counselor, and I recommitted myself to the Lord because I was first a believer when I was a child and grew up in the church, and I knew who Jesus was. I was pretty close to him and read my Bible all the time. Then I got married and everything changed. And so you're right, if he's not in the center, there is no it just doesn't work. That's
There's no
it.
rock.
Yeah.
There's no,
So immediately and at the time he told me my mom was diagnosed with cancer and had to have like a kidney removed. So I had to go back to Ohio, and my aunt immediately knew, I just like broke down. I could honestly barely walk. Like it was very I was not well. So she did this like EMDR therapy, and just really I recommitted my life to Christ and just surrender. Like I can't do this. I can't live. I can't even take care of my three children. I had one in college, actually, one in high school and one in middle school at the time. So that was the beginning. And then counseling twice a week I did. And one thing that I loved is I turned on Christian music, like in the car. Like I started to bring that atmosphere. Like that really just gave me peace. Because I was kind of isolated. Like I didn't tell anybody. I don't know if I was embarrassed or I just told my aunt, and she's
sounds
like,
like
I
you were
want to find
wearing
you.
a mask. Were you wearing a mask like me?
Oh my gosh. And I tried to keep it on, and people were like, what is wrong? Like I lost probably 20 pounds. Like everyone thought I was sick. Like what's going on? Finally, I just broke down and said what was going on. And but so then I went to a Bible study, and these women, I've never been loved like that. Like these wise women. I mean, I did this for 3 years. This is a journey. Like this isn't something that
Happens overnight.
healing. Yeah, this healing for me took a very long time. And just being at the church every week and getting into his word. I opened up my word, I found my grandma's Bible, and it was such a gift. And if you see, when I look back, I see all these clues, that he was doing for me. He was there all the time, but sometimes we get so busy in our daily routine and everything, we don't see them.
Right.
So that's really what saved my life, really.
Well, that's
And prayer.
right. Well, and I always say, we have to replace those lies and the radio station in our head, like the battlefield of the mind that Joyce Myers always talks about. And we have to overcome that. And the way we overcome that is replacing that you're not worthy, or you're rejected, or you're not loved, or you've made such a huge mistake. And no one is perfect. First of all, there was only one perfect man that walked this earth, and it was Jesus. And he forgives us, he picks us up, dusts us off, and lets us continue down the path. And sometimes we as humans have to make mistakes more than once to learn the lesson. But even like that one chapter in my book, it's like there are no mistakes. It's all lessons to learn and grow and to become
Mhm.
closer to God, because he will never leave us or forsake us. And,
Never.
and so that battlefield of the mind is like, again, you need to
Huge.
stop what you're thinking, turn on some praise and worship music that speaks truth into you in the music that changes the atmosphere, like you were saying, which is huge, right?
Oh my gosh, so good. And you know what else I want to mention, that I did this as a child because of, my parents' divorce and all. I would journal and ask, we sometimes ask the question to the Lord or ourselves, but to write it down and ask him is powerful. And just to let it flow, and to write out your feelings. Like I was so hurt, and I was like, why? What is going on? And just I just loved it. And just doing like a daily devotional just to get you started, get maybe he's wanting to share something with you, because he's always wanting to communicate. He's doing so many things at once that we
Right.
have no clue. And to sit still with him is amazing. And also to be in community, because we
Oh,
could we could stay there for a long time too and be isolated and just spend time, which is amazing. I'm not saying that's, I mean, we need to do that, but I also believe in community and talking with others like you. You've helped me so much in so many ways. Even doing this podcast, you're like, Becky, done is better than perfect. Because I get in that perfectionism. Oh, wait till this, wait. You're like, no, we're doing it now. I
yeah.
love it.
And I'm glad you're here. Yeah, I mean, I call it going into the cave, and you isolate yourself. And it's okay there to go to heal for a time, but not forever, because like you said, we were created to be in community. You're created to spend time with each other and to lift each other up, but also with God. And so you go, and journaling is like unbelievably healing for why everyone doesn't journal. I don't know. And maybe it's because they don't know what it can do. I tell my family, I have been journaling since 1983. I'm giving it away. That was a long time ago. Many people are going, I wasn't even alive at that point. But 1983 is when I started journaling. And I still journal to this day. And I always say to my family, okay, when I'm dead and gone, you're going to have the biggest weenie roast possible, and you don't need to read it. Just burn it, because you don't need to know what I went through. But it was such a healing, cathartic situation to put that out there. And like you said, when you write those questions and then you just pause and you get quiet, you will hear what
And then tears flow too, because it's like he's in the room, and he's always in the room. That's another question I love to ask. Like, what are you doing right now? Where are you? Like, I get emotional even talking about it, because he's right here with us all
yes,
the time.
his hand is
Yeah.
on us at all times. I always say he's
Yeah.
our protector and our provider. And so like you and I, Becky and I were talking earlier before we got on the screen here, but I'll tell you, a lot of times we get in the way of ourselves by pushing things, like putting that square peg in a round hole, trying to make things happen, whether it's in a relationship or a career. And sometimes I think we have to just go and pause and say, this could be God's way of protecting us in whatever that is, the relationship or that career move, because it might not be the right time. It might not be the right person. It might not be the right career, or you might not feel like your skills were where they need to be able to do the best that you can do. So you just have to, for me anyway, I have these conversations with myself all the time with Jesus, saying, okay, Jesus, take the wheel. That's one of my favorite sayings. The other one is, Lord, have mercy. And the other one is that I am just going to trust, trust, and trust. And he's always faithful. He's never let us down. And so I'm going to trust that when his timing, like even when I met my husband, it was on the 12th hour, 59-minute, 59-second, is finally when I realized that this was the man that Jesus had chosen for me. So he's always there. And that's why I think the best, hopefully, blessing that I could speak into you and to other people is that to trust that he's protecting us if it's not going the way we want to, because he has a bigger plan for us. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. I totally agree. And sometimes, during this 10 years, I did feel like, oh, I've got this and this, and we start to get in control, because you think, oh, I'm healed, I can do this. And then you're realizing um, that there's some of the needs that we're not getting from the Lord or from our, people in our life. Like, we all want to belong. We want to be loved, and we want to feel secure. We want to be understood, and we want to have a purpose and be significant. And if sometimes, I've noticed if one of these needs aren't met, you kind of attach to maybe somebody that you shouldn't.
Exactly.
And then it's like you get, and I was like, wait a minute, what was I thinking? I had all these red flags and didn't see them, and it does sneak up on you. So, and it's just,
And don't you think when you get more quiet and you then tune in, it's like a fine-tuned radio station. So you have to dial that, and some people are going, radio station and a dial, all the younger generations. People say, they're going, you have to dial in. Yes, we have to dial in. So when you are getting really fine-tuned into hearing his voice, which when you get really good at this, it's like a bullhorn. It's like you have no doubt that it's he who spoke. So, and that was for me when in the last relationship before my husband, I mean, I had the unction in my gut. It was the Holy Spirit punch that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong person, but thinking that I could be the one to lead this person to the Jesus. I stuck around for 3 years. He wasn't a Christian. I am. And it was like, but for me anyway, we make every excuse possible to, because we think that this is where I'm supposed to be, when in fact, you know that you know that you know that this isn't the right thing. So anyway, that he never leaves us or forsakes us. And so, what is your advice to someone who may be going through something similar, that is feeling rejected or unworthy, or just some of the things that you were sharing and feeling?
Well, I would go back to the word, what God says about you. What lies are you believing? What is the truth? The truth is you are created, you are loved, you are worthy. And the love that God wants to show us, that to open our heart to receive it. And he just, we're his daughter, we're his son, and he loves us so much more than we could ever think, hope, or imagine. And he wants to give us abundant life, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's what I would think. You get in the word and speak it, and write who you are down too. I am worthy. I am, and speak it out loud. That's a good practice as well.
I am are the two strongest words, and the biggest and most impactful sentences. I am what?
Right.
And if you're saying I am not confident versus I am confident in the God, in Lord, in Jesus, I am capable. The other thing is I always say to people is that, we were created in his image, and for us to think lesser of us, not to be conceited, obviously, but to think lesser of ourselves, and to have some humility and being humble, because that's who Jesus was. He was very humble, and he was like Jehovah sneaky. He would sneak into the crowds, and no one even knew he was there, which was so cool. And so, as an example of his humility, it wasn't like it was, look at me, I'm Sandra Dee. It was, very patient, kind, loving, just like in what is love in the Bible. It's patient, it's kind, it's forbearance, and the gifts of the fruit, and Galatians 5:22, and patience and kindness. And there's 7 of them, and I can't remember all of them.
Long suffering. I feel like I've been long suffering.
So it's like, when's this going to be over? A lot of times
when
it's
am I
like,
going to meet?
yeah,
Yes,
it's an amazing truth. So anyway, Galatians 5:22 is the fruit of the Spirit that I would hang your hat on. And obviously that one that love is, that every church speaks when someone's getting married. It's patient, it's kind, it's honoring, it's all of the wonderful things that we all have from the Father, that we should, obviously, when we're looking for a partner, that person should emulate what Jesus has shown us, that who he is. And that is a marriage made for success, in my opinion. At least that's how I am with my husband right now, being a pastor and being patient and kind with me, and long suffering definitely with me. So it's a blessing to be with a man that actually has a relationship with Jesus and knows who he is. So where can people find you, and tell them about what you do and where they can find you?
Okay. Well, about 5 years ago, my youngest went to college, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do next? And so I was invited to this, it was kind of like an online Shark Tank kind of thing. And one of the projects that we could partner with was like a trading platform for cryptocurrency. So that's where I started to learn. And then I got into crypto mining and blockchains with a purpose. So my name and business name is Blockchain Becky, and I want to educate people about the blockchain and the opportunities that are there, that I've experienced and done very well with, and just blockchainbecky.com.
Awesome. Very good. And so I just want to say thank you for sharing your heart, coming on here. And this won't be the last time that Becky Leathers will be on this podcast, because as we all continue to grow and set ourselves free, there's always something that we can hopefully share with people to help you to be set free. So please go to follow Katy Huff Ministries by going to YouTube and subscribing to that channel. So go to YouTube, Katy Huff Ministries, and push that little subscribe button. That would bless me immensely. You can also find me on Apple and Rumble and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And for more encouragement on staying up to date with me, check out my book, my blog, my podcast, my women's ministries, and my courses. And there's Becky sharing that with you. Yes. And thank you so much. And again, just please subscribe and follow me on those different platforms, and we'll continue to help set yourself free with the information that we get from all of our guests on our show. And so, Becky, thank you so much for sharing your heart. Thank you for being here. I look forward to having you again. You're such a blessing in my life, and a beautiful sister in Christ with me. And I just love you. So God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, too, for having me. I appreciate you so much.